How in the world is it possible that the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, the Detroit Free Press, the biggest newspaper in Michigan, the Detroit News, another big paper in Michigan, the Flint Journal, Flint's hometown paper, I could go on, Daily Beast, BuzzFeed, The Atlantic, Huffington Post, add your pick. They don't think this is scandalous. They don't think it's relevant to tell their readers or viewers. Frankly, where the hell is the independent media? I know it's been 24 hours. I sent it to everyone I know in independent media. Other than retweets, crickets on one of the biggest government cover-ups of the 21st century. I was invited on to Tom Hartman's show. I went on there earlier. I'm going on with Abby Martin later. Not live, but recorded. Jen and I are going on with her. That's it. Nothing else. I guess they're still too busy fighting with each other. People want to call themselves progressive, yet they're ignoring a massive government cover-up. I don't care if it happened 7 years ago or 7 months ago or 7 minutes ago. A massive government cover-up over the biggest environmental calamity of the 21st century. That's what it is. Oh, I forget. Jen and I went on with Matt Taibbi and Katie Halper yesterday. So shout out to them. I don't think it's up yet, but they did have us on, Matt Taibbi and Katie Halper yesterday. So shout out to Matt, Katie Halper, Abby Martin, Tom Hartman had me on. I don't see TYT covering it. I literally messaged somebody I still know at TYT that I talk to occasionally, and I said, cover it, don't even mention my name. If that's the problem, don't mention my name. Just say The Intercept. I don't need credit. I doubt they're covering it. By the way, the network that invested to send me to Flint many times. Crickets. Wonder why. This is multiple cover-ups. You got the government cover-up, and now you have the media covering it up. How is it in a country and all of these outlets are ranting, democracy is under attack and the free press is under attack? Well, how is it that the free press, if you want to call them press, because I think they're a bunch of fucking stenographers for the powerful and for corporate America, how is it that story after story after story we have broken? Jen and I, part of breaking this, I drove to Michigan during a pandemic, there and back with a bad back. It fucked up my back for weeks after I drove. To not fly during a pandemic. As part of the reporting for this story, how is it that these people could literally call themselves journalism? I'm talking to the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Associated Press, CNN, MSNBC, the Detroit Free Press, the Detroit News, the Flint Journal, BuzzFeed, Daily Beast, Rolling Stone, The Atlantic. I could go on. How do they sleep at night? Not even doing a small write-up of a bombshell cover-up. How does Anderson Cooper, who goes to fucking Texas to give wet kisses to cowboy Jeff Bezos and slobber over Jeff Bezos after his $5.5 billion dick voyage to space, how does he sleep at night? Probably very nice. Rachel Maddow, to her credit, originally was the first high-profile journalist to cover this back in 2016. But then she kind of took a detour to the new Cold War and pushing that. I'm told, oh, she's covered this a lot, Jordan. Oh, yeah? Show me how much she's covered this since 2016. Aside from a few minutes here and there. I have reached out to Rachel Maddow. I have reached out to her executive producer. I have reached out to MSNBC executives. I even willingly said, and by the way, you know what I think about MSNBC, but the point is we need to get this out to as many people as possible, whether we love the outlets or not. Okay, big boys and girls, this is about getting a cover-up and justice out. I basically presented them with the reporting, the evidence. I said, Rachel Maddow can take the lead for all I care. This isn't about credit for me. This isn't about winning an award. It's about justice. Nothing. I emailed her executive producer today. We'll see. We'll see if he gets back to me. I doubt it. Like, how does the Detroit... I literally met with a fucking editor at the Detroit Free Press when I drove to Michigan. I met with an editor. Their investigations editor from the Detroit Free Press. I met with them in a parking lot. It was like 15 degrees out, I think. We sat in our cars because of the pandemic with our windows open. Without going into details, I showed him everything. He says to me, and I quote, I regret we haven't done more on Flint. We've covered the health stuff, but not really the cover-up. He says to me, you got great stuff here, but it's, it's kind of circumstantial. I said, first of all, you're not a prosecutor. I'm not a prosecutor. You don't have to convict beyond a reasonable doubt. Cases are built on a lot of circumstantial evidence. A lot of the best journalism is built on building sources, documents, and some circumstantial evidence. I'm handing you, not my opinion, Snyder's phone calls with his chief of staff, his health director, meeting notes that show Snyder might have been informed in writing about the deadly waterborne bacteria that killed people, that he told Congress. I didn't know anything about it till a year and a half later. I showed them quite a lot more. A couple days later, he says, I brought it to my editor. We're going to pass. I sent him a sharply worded response saying, I'm absolutely dumbfounded. It is stunning to me that the largest newspaper in Michigan, it's not even that you're passing, you're helping to stop this information from getting out. And he basically sent me a bunch of bullshit that they just can't invest in it at this. They can't invest in it at this time. I found out later they had 6 or 7 reporters in their investigative unit, but they couldn't invest in this. By the way, the story was handed to them. They didn't have to do anything other than edit it. This is why I've told my audience. This is why Jen has told you. I'm all for, protest outside Pelosi's office, protest outside, Mitch McConnell's office, protest, protest outside corporations, BlackRock's and Blackstone's office, protest pipelines, do it all. But why is there no protest outside your local media outlets? Why is there no protest outside CNN and MSNBC and the New York Times and the Washington Post? Why are these people allowed to cover up what's really going on and just be comfortable? To be clear, I'm not talking about being violent. I'm not talking about sending them anything in the mail. None of that. We're talking civil disobedience, peaceful. Do you really think that part of why we live in the United Corporations of America, do you really think that part of why this corruption is allowed to continue? I got news for you. I've seen this in the flesh on the road. 80% of the reason is because there is a structure in this country known as the media that ignores it, that looks the other way, that helps cover it up.